Donald Trump addressed the nation on Wednesday evening, and it was a disaster. It almost seemed like to me he had a couple of drinks and said, let me get up here and say some things just because. Let's all remember that this is happening after the Vanity Fair interview that Susie Wills had. This is also happening right before those Epstein files are supposed to be released on Friday. So I find the timing to be somewhat suspect. It is also happening after this, after Miriam Adelson graced us with her witchy presence. I feel like this woman is a witch. Graced us with her presence to let us know that she wants 4 more years from Donald Trump.
Miriam Adelson, you want to come up, Miriam? Come up here, Miriam. Miriam gave my campaign indirectly and directly $250 million. She was number one. When somebody can give you $250 million, I think that we should give her the opportunity to say hello. And Miriam, make it quick, because $250 million is not what it used to be. Okay? Hello, darling. Come here. Incredible woman with a great husband, a man that loved Israel.
Well, Mr. President, when you were in the Israeli parliament and you gave a speech and you saw me from far away, you called, and at that time I came with a scooter to the parliament just to hear you. I wanted to hear you alive. And then you said, Miriam Adelson, and I stood for a second, but it was so painful, so I said. Then you screamed, Miriam, stand up! And I wish you would have known, but I stood up and heard all your compliment, and thank you very much.
I saw you back there standing.
Yeah, you saw me.
She stood
Thank
up
you.
bravely.
And now I met Alan Dershowitz, and he said the legal thing about 4 more years, and I said, Alan, I agree with you. So we can do it. Think about it.
Alan's here someplace. Where's Alan?
Alan is here. Oh.
So she said that Alan Dershowitz and her decided that we can do 4 more years with Donald Trump. This is where we're at now, folks. Miriam Adelson, who says we know she loves Israel more than the United States. She's out here making decisions about the White House. So do you see how money talks? So Trump got a lot of crap for this, including from some in his own base. They were not happy about how he was so blatant about it. And then we get into the address. Now, I was under the impression, because there were reports that Donald Trump was going to announce that we were going to war with Venezuela at that address, at that presidential address. And one of the places I heard about that was on Judge Napolitano's show, where Tucker Carlson had announced that I guess Congress had already been briefed about that. Now, Donald Trump didn't announce that during the address, and I would imagine he probably knows how unpopular this decision is, but he did implement a blockade. So it's almost like essentially we're going to war, but he didn't announce it, if that makes sense. Here's him saying that we are implementing a blockade on Venezuela.
Just a blockade. Not going to let anybody going through that shouldn't be going through. You remember they took all of our energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back. But they took it. They illegally took it.
So Venezuela did not take our oil. They have, trillions of barrels of oil. They didn't take our oil. That's an outright lie. He's just saying anything now. And it's embarrassing. Like, honestly, it's embarrassing. And I believe that they want this woman, Maria, who received the Nobel Peace Prize. I believe this is who they want to install in Maduro's place. They want someone that wants to have a collaboration with Israel, as she's made it very vocal that she does. I believe this is who they want.
So President Trump said that land strikes to stop drug trafficking specifically will start soon. He has been saying that for weeks. Do you know what he is talking about? And has he promised you anything?
No, I don't know. And well, if I knew, I wouldn't say it, of course, but it's not the case. We are not involved, and we will not get involved into another nation's policy for their own national security.
But would you welcome U.S. military action?
I will welcome more and more pressure so that Maduro understands that he has to go, that his time is over. And I will insist something that I've said several times before. This is not conventional regime change. This cannot be compared to other cases like countries in the Middle East. We had an election. Mm-hmm. Regime change was already mandated by over 70% of the population. And what we need is support to enforce that decision.
So she doesn't care if the US government invades her own country because she's in on it, because she's a Western puppet, and she would rather take that spot. She already made it very public that she wants Venezuela to collaborate with Israel, right? So you had someone, remember I told you about, like, you know, you always have the traitors. When you have someone like her who's openly saying that, I mean, what do people expect, right? How can you see something different? And here's the other thing. The part about the U.S. stealing Venezuela's oil, even Thomas Massie checked Donald Trump on this. When Trump says Venezuela stole oil from the U.S., he's talking about projects by oil companies that were nationalized by the government of Venezuela's 2 decades ago. No one campaigned on using our soldiers to overthrow Venezuela to make these oil companies whole again. Like, it's just, it's crazy, right? So we get to the presidential address and he doesn't announce that we're going to war with Venezuela. Instead, he proceeds to rant a bunch of lies about the economy, the job market, and the prices. You guys have got to hear this for yourself.
Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think most would agree. I was elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states and everything else, with a mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were.
It was just like a bunch of rambling. Like, this dude just goes on, just rambling. And I'm just like, this comes out of nowhere. Okay. So it's not like how many times are you going to address the nation, for one? And then for two, to get up there and just the blah, 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 blah. Like, people literally were like, this is manic. It feels manic-like.
Poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%. We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states, where education belongs. After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close.
Not something to brag about. So this just goes to show you, like, he's out there, and apparently from what I read, his chief of staff, Susie Wills, she was the one that told him to do this, to address the nation, I guess, to combat the negativity that was received from her interview with Vanity Fair. Look, people were laughing, like, people were laughing their ass off. And he just gets up there and says a bunch of stuff. Wait till he gets to the economic part. That's the part that's crazier.
I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down, and bringing them down very fast.
That is a bold-faced lie. A bold-faced lie. And we're going to show you what it really is. Because he's just lying. He acts as though people can't walk into the grocery store and see the prices, like, right now. He acts as though Americans we're dumb, or like buffoons or something. Like, we don't know. And we do know. So I brought those prices way, way down. Oh my gosh.
Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22%, and in many states, 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%. Now, under our leadership, they are all coming down, and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared.
Let me stop here for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. I don't know who the hell came up with this chart, where he got these from. But guys, look, under Biden's presidency, I complained about the prices too. But just because a new president is in the White House doesn't mean I stop looking at the damn prices. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and we're going to get to the inflation part too, because I'm going to show you how it's actually getting worse. Like, I don't know who made these charts. Oh my God.
To the Biden last year, the price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can.
What is everything else? Look, the eggs, yes, the egg prices I have seen decrease. But what is the everything else? He doesn't tell you what it is, because it's a lie. It's not true.
Believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000.
The current job report shows that the number of jobs is down. Like, what was he talking about? The number of jobs are down. Did you guys know? And I just saw this earlier today. The Griot shared this. Did you guys know that the Black unemployment rate is now at 34%? That's why I said, who made these charts? We'll go on a little bit more. I can only do so much of this because it was hard to watch.
Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300.
Let's just go back to this for a second. So private sector up 1,000, little over 1,000. Factory worker up 1,300, construction up 1,800, mining up $3,336. So here's the thing. Okay. All private sector. This is not correct. All private sector jobs do not have an increase of that. Guys, I have a friend that's been laid off for months. The only job they've been able to find is contract roles. That's it. Nothing permanent, no benefits. See, they don't go into the details. I said the same thing under Biden. I was like, they're not telling you the details. Are these temp jobs, contract jobs, etc.? I don't know nobody getting the increase of this. And then the factory worker, yeah, but how many factory jobs are there? How many the construction jobs, the mining jobs? These mining jobs are actually very dangerous jobs. So I don't know where they got these numbers from, but let me show you, because he was debunked. It was bad. That was bad. So listen to this. He was debunked by multiple people.
So many of these claims have been debunked so many times. The president said inflation has stopped. It's 3%. In fact, September, that 3% rate was the 5th consecutive month inflation had increased. The president also said that he inherited the worst inflation. He said some might say in the history of the country. Again, he inherited 3% inflation in January, nowhere close to the all-time high of more than 23%. He spoke of cutting prescription drug prices by 400 to 600%. Those figures are mathematically impossible. If you cut it by more than 100%, people would get paid to get their medications. He said everything else is falling rapidly. Everything else is not falling rapidly. In fact, even on groceries in particular, far more products have increased in price this term than have decreased. He said again, he secured $18 trillion in investment this year. That number is total fiction. Even the White House website uses a figure of $9.6 trillion. And my detailed review found that that figure is a wild exaggeration. He spoke of some states hitting $1.99 for gas. The lowest state average today is closer to $2.40. He also
This guy was on it. We might have to drop the beat for him.
Talked about immigration, made false claims there, saying that an army of 25 million people invaded the country under President Biden. It was under 11 million, and that counts millions of people who were rapidly expelled from the country. Crime was nowhere close to record high under President Biden. President Trump has not settled 8 wars. That list includes various wars, various situations that were not even wars, and some conflicts that have not actually been resolved. I could go on. I don't have time.
He just told lie after lie after lie. That's why I ask, like, is this real life? And there was another one that was debunked here as well. Oh my gosh, you guys. Harry Inton, you guys know this guy. He's always really animated. Listen to what he says about the inflation.
We started off talking about affordability and prices and the idea that prices are coming down. But we can just look at the inflation rate year over year, Caitlin. And what can we see? Back in January, the inflation rate, according to CPI, was 3.0%. You saw by April, it was dipping down. It was 2.3%. That was right around the time that the tariffs really started to get implemented. Look at where we are now in the latest reading, September. We'll get another reading out, I believe, tomorrow. But the latest reading we get out, 3%. That matches where we were in January, Caitlin. Prices have not, in fact, fallen according to the broadest measure of the inflation rate. He also spoke about jobs, right? Well, you know, John King was talking about the unemployment rate. Look, in January, it was 4.0%. By May, 4.2%. Now, the latest reading that was out earlier this week, 4.6%. The highest unemployment rate since 2021. Now,
told you guys. See that? There it is. And they don't want to talk about that. They don't want you to know how high that unemployment rate really is.
Now, these are the measures of the economy, right? But how do Americans actually feel about it? And all I can say is they feel awfully about it, because take a look here. Percentage who say that we're on the right track when it comes to inflation. Just 20%. Just 20% of Americans say we're on the right track. The vast majority of Americans think we're on the wrong track when it comes to inflation. What about jobs? Just 27% of Americans think we're on the right track when it comes to jobs in this country. So we're talking about under 30% on two key economic metrics. And then I'll leave you with this, Caitlin Collins, and that is Donald Trump's economic net approval rating. It is just flat out awful, and it has declined precipitously since the beginning of his second term in office. Look at this. Trump's net approval rating on the economy. In January, he was in positive territory at plus 6%. Way down he goes. Now, according to the latest Reuters Ipsos poll, he is 25 points underwater. Donald Trump was elected to fix the economy. It was a strength for him during his first term, but at this point, it is an anchor on him, and that is why we're seeing poll after poll after poll showing him with a net negative approval rating, and in some polls, the worst approval rating he has had in his entire second term.
There it is. And that's what they don't want you to know. And it's sad that now Donald Trump will say that that's fake news. But the data doesn't lie. That's why I said, I don't know where he got these graphs from, who made these charts or whatever. But no, it's not looking good for him. He's not doing a good job. And he does this presidential address to make people think, oh, something really big must be happening or whatever. But it's just him there bragging about himself. And honestly, you have nothing to brag about. He has nothing to brag about at this point. It's insane. I tell you. That's why I told you guys, no repeats, okay? No repeats. Everyone remember, come 2028, no repeats. No Trumps, and this includes everybody in the family. No more Trumps, no more Bidens, no more Clintons, no more Bushes, no more. I don't want to see no repeats at all. New face, fresh energy, no AIPAC money, no Israeli lobby money, period. No corporate money. That's what I want to see, okay? That's what I want. Okay. That is what I want. Oh my God. Now, it is revealed, though, that yes, apparently Susie Wills here. Trump spills the reason for the MANIC address when cameras stop. President Trump was heard explaining why he gave his bizarre national address as soon as the camera stopped rolling. It goes on to say here that Susie Wills made him do it as she plays cleanup amid the fallout from her embarrassingly candid Vanity Fair article. So he is blaming Susie Q. Is this real life? Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.